How many of these do you need? Um, Talking about the electronics, I'll need the for the microcontrollers. I'll probably need 60 for my robot, and then for the brushless DC motor controllers that are the side saddle type design that I showed you. Um, Side saddling like this, where it's on two sides of the motor, so you can like space it out wherever you have room around the motor, hugging tight to the motor. Um, I'll need that for one of these for every motor of the whole robot, and the robot's going to have like 300 motors, so I'll need 300 of these. And I'm thinking of having, like, I already created my prototype for one of them. It's mostly done, although I haven't mounted it yet, I haven't tested it yet. I'm wrapping that up. Um, I think I can cut down on my total soldering by having some portion of it assembled. Because you can buy like a 100 millimeter by 100 millimeter flat flex board that has like maybe 30 or 40 of these on it, of these little tiny circuits that would go on to the SMD, the face of the SMD MOSFET, with the tiny MOSFET and the tiny little resistors and the tiny little LEDs that actually mount to that MOSFET. So that's a very tiny little circuit board. And so I would put a ton of tiny circuit boards on my bigger circuit board and have them make it as though it were one circuit board when it's in fact in reality going to be maybe like 50 circuit boards all within that 100 millimeter by 100 millimeter form factor. And I could even have them, JLCPCB can actually do your assembly and soldering too, which I might actually do. It might be worth it. It might be worth it because you guys know how long I've been working on this robot. Like that could save me a lot of time. So I'm considering that. Even though the DIYer in me is like, no, I'll do it myself. But and plus it's good practice. And I'll get faster through time. But then it's like, yeah, but there's still a lot of soldering I can do, and whatever I can outsource, the better. If it's not too expensive, and they're doing this through like automation too, so it's supposedly not that expensive maybe. But I have to still price it more. But they have a $15 coupon for $15 off your order of this type of flat flex, super skinny type of PCB um, making. So I might, and that has to be within the next 2 weeks. So in order for me to take advantage of that offer, I will have to build my circuit in a circuit making software. I've never done that before. I built my circuit in 3D modeling software and on Photoshop, but I've never done it in a way that outputs a Gerber file. So I need to learn how to use like Eagle or KiCad, or I don't know if I'm saying those right, but like one of these programs that helps you make a circuit. I've never done it. I don't even pay attention when people talk about it because I wasn't planning to ever do it. I was planning to always just draw my circuits onto a circuit board and then acid etch it myself, like do it all by hand or do it with my laser printer and transfer paper and like make everything by hand with acid from home. But then like I'm like, man, this could save a lot of time if I had them actually assemble it, solder it, make it everything, and it's if it's cheap, I should maybe do that because like you guys know I was going to build the fiberglass robot and then I switched to PVC medical skeleton because I'm like this will take so long to make each bone by hand with fiberglass, and the PVC medical skeleton for like it was like $89 at the time, free shipping. Um, I've got all the bones already made. You know, even if they're not as strong as fiberglass and epoxy, and even if they are a bit heavier because they're solid instead of hollow, so we're gaining more weight that way. It might still be worth it since it's all there and it will probably work fine. It's not going to be that heavy compared to metal or something. So I was like, yeah, let's just go with this for the first robot. We can always build fiberglass robots later and finish the fiberglass robot build we started with later. But having the first robot finish building the original robot skeleton. So basically, the original robot's name was Adam, and the second robot's name is Abel, and we were going to have Abel build the rest of Adam's skeleton. So, anyways, the whole idea of buying a PVC medical skeleton was to save time and labor to get me closer to my goal of building a robot faster. And then having that robot build the other one out so I don't lose the time I put into building a cool fiberglass skeleton by hand. That won't be lost because the second I get my robot done, he can help me finish that up. He can do that work for the rest of it. Finishing all the fiberglassing work and assembly. I'd be able to program him to do that. So that's the idea there. So along the same vein, if I'm going to be cutting corners to save time and speed up my overall development timeline, which I need to do if I'm going to get things rolling quicker, it's taking a long time. We're already 9 years into this project, and taking shortcuts to speed things up is smart, right? And so I'm like, yeah, I should then be willing to buy some really dense, flat flex, super dense SMD little 50 circuit boards in one little tiny profile with tiny little resistors and LEDs, tons of tiny stuff, all done by machine. And then I cut those out and mount those to my SMD MOSFETs faces and stuff. I can make a lot of tiny little stuff with them helping to speed me up by a lot, maybe. And not cost that much. So that's what I'm thinking of doing now. Just it's the same philosophy of like, yeah, you can make the rest of your fiberglass skeleton, but let's speed things up. You can come back to that. So like I could later have the robot SMD solder everything and not use JLCPCB in the future once I have my own robot to automate things because he'll be doing it for me. But maybe like for now, since I'm doing everything by hand, I'm slow and I'm still learning, it would be smart just to like outsource as much as I can. To speed things up because life's flying by. I have kids now, a family. I started this when I was single. I got married, had a family and kids all since I started this project, and time's flying by and still no robot. So it's like whatever shortcuts I can do at this point, it's like I should probably do it. Plus money is less of an obstacle now because my wife has a good job. I still make I probably make more than I make a lot more than I did when I started, but not that much. But I'm able to save a lot of my money to put toward my projects and stuff. So I can afford, within reason, to spend like $1,000 every year, maybe. I could probably budget that on like outsourcing some help with the robot. Like that's how desperate I am to get this thing going. I'd maybe even be willing to do that, even though that's money I could have saved to put in the stock market, which kind of sucks. But it's like, yeah, but you're building a robot, which is more important. The robot could potentially bring future earnings that would pay you back for that investment. So I see it as an investment because the robot can automate, streamline, and build products and build more robots. There's a lot of financial opportunities that can open by having an amazing robot. So, okay,